Obscure Jackal, and welcome back to Winds of Change. Today we'll be leaving Peregrino and finally heading towards Mazeo. As always, if you enjoy, please leave a like, it really helps a lot, and subscribe if you haven't to keep up with everything happening in Alestia. And catch me live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and every other Saturday over on Twitch. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so when we left off last time, we had just unlocked Heart to Hearts, which basically help determine who we have a relationship with throughout the game and how our relationships are, like whether it's friendship, romantic, etc. Let's start with Fortum here. It looks like something is bothering Fortum. I approach him and decide to ask what's on his mind. He seemed a little startled, like he was indeed lost in thought.
Oh, hey there, Cirrus. What's wrong? Nothing, really. I'm just thinking about, well, everything. This will be the last time we see Peregrino. When and if we come back, it'll be a barracks. I know that's what I wanted, but I had fun here. I'm just thinking about the future a lot. I gotta figure out how to make you proud. As Elder, I mean. Just give me some time to figure stuff out. Then I'll shine. It's not like I can fully adapt to being our leader in one night.
He gives me a nervous laugh before shuffling awkwardly. There's something else on his mind, I can tell. But it's not my place to pry, so I wait for him to speak.
Thanks for letting me sleep here with you, by the way. It helped me process things in my head a little bit more. If it weren't for that, I would have been too scared to think. Like, what if they attacked in the middle of the night? We all know they'd have to pass by Peregrino first. I was honestly scared we might die here last night. So yeah, thanks a million. But there's one more thing I want to say. Last night, I had a really bad dream.
Aww.
We were making our way down toward Mazeo, but we weren't with Pro and Ulrich. It was our parents. I kept telling them not to go. I knew they wouldn't come back.
He clenches his fists and trembles slightly.
But they didn't listen. They just kept going. I ran until my legs could barely move, and then I ran even more. It actually felt like I could save them. If I only tried. Eventually, we made it to the gates of Mazeo. Or at least I think they were. I've never actually been there. But this is the worst part. They finally turned to face us. And that's when I realized something shocking. I don't remember what my parents looked like, Cirrus. Their faces were a blur, almost like they were nobody. They started to speak, but I didn't recognize their voices. Has it been so long that I'm forgetting my own parents? I tried so hard to picture them when I woke up. I couldn't. When they died, everyone told me they weren't really gone. That they'd live on forever, inside of my memory. But even that's fading, Cirrus. What happens next? Back at the Grand Tree, I said I wanted vengeance. I wanted to take down the Triumvirate to avenge our parents. But this dream was kind of like a wake-up call, you know? Why should I fight for something that doesn't exist? And better yet, something I can't even picture in my head. There are so many reasons to fight, all of them less selfish. So, I think I want to fight for you. I want to make sure that you're safe and you survive this. When it comes to you, the entirety of Alestia is at stake.
He continues to tremble, and I can tell he's fighting back tears. It's almost like this dream is helping him move on from his parents. He's becoming more grounded in reality, in the here and now. I am hugging him. I take a few steps forward and wrap my arms around him. He gasps in surprise, and I notice his trembling come to a halt. A few moments later, I feel his arms return the hug, squeezing tight.
I just miss them so much.
He sniffles softly, like he overcame his imminent tears.
At the end of the dream, when they turned back, I ran toward them and tried to hug them one more time, but I didn't feel anything when I did, and the dream ended. But right now, I'm definitely feeling something, and I know this won't end. I know you're not going anywhere.
He hugs me tighter, and I do so as well.
This is what I need to fight for. The things that are right in front of me, the things that matter, and the things I cherish.
I nod and let out our embrace continue. It seems to last forever, but I don't mind. I'd let it last as long as it needs to, for Fortum. Now, Valessa. Valessa is walking from one end of the room to the other. She looks annoyed. It could be any number of things, but I decide to talk to her and figure things out. As soon as I approach her, she stops in her tracks and lets out an exasperated sigh.
I can't believe Fortum is in charge now. No offense. My vision for the future of Valenworth was just so clear. But now everything is changing. It's not home anymore.
You're trying to hold on to the past a little too hard, Valessa.
That is, if we can even find a way to save it. You know, reconnecting with the spirits or whatever. I'm starting to think that's quite the tall order. I'm not saying it'd be any simpler if you chose me. It's just... Never mind. I actually don't know what I'm saying. Whatever comes to mind seems to be coming out of my mouth. Sorry for rambling on. It's just a lot to take in. But being able to talk about it definitely helps. Thanks, Cirrus. At the end of the day, being able to confide in you is great.
Of course. She blushes and rubs the back of her head with a hand. Shuffling awkwardly in place, I can tell she's flattered.
That's good to hear, Cirrus. Nobody should go through this stuff alone. It's a lot better, feeling like I'm part of a team.
She seems to disregard my advance, so I decide to back off. Perhaps the timing was imperfect. I could always try again later.
Let's not get too far off track, alright?
It's hard to get a read on her next expression, but she shuffles about some more. Taking a few steps away from me, she rests her back against the wall. I step closer toward her, inching ourselves away from Fortum.
What am I going to do? From this point forward, your visions are very important. I doubt that the one you had about Valenworth will be the last. Especially now that this blade is involved in everything. We need to make an important decision here. Do we involve the rest of Alestia with this stuff? Or do we keep the visions to ourselves, like always? If we start to serve them with our visions, they'll be dependent. After this war is over, they could expect us to keep helping out. Or even worse, people with ill intent could force us to help. Should we keep our roles as secret as possible? Or should we openly tell everybody who we are? This is the first time Cirrus has left Valenworth. We're making history. But what kind of history do we make?
There's no reason to hide our identities. Now, we don't necessarily have to broadcast it, but, you know.
Do you really think so? The world is full of horrible people, you know. We can't trust that everybody will be on our side. Even if they act like it, they could just be using us. I'd say I trust our judgment, but I'm not so sure. I can play along, so it doesn't seem like I'm hiding anything. But the moment someone rubs me the wrong way, I'll tell you. Better to stay on our toes. Otherwise, they'd trample all over us. Thanks for giving me your advice, Cirrus. It's good to have some direction. I was feeling lost. I'm glad to know we can keep working together like this.
We can do more than just work together.
I know. Trust me, I know. But is this really the time to talk about that stuff? It's not that I'm not interested, it's just... timing.
Aw, that's adorable.
Maybe I'll feel a bit different once we get to Mazeo. Settling down in the Rebel HQ might make things easier. Right now, there's just so much happening, and we're mobile. It'll take some time before I can think about that stuff. If only the day went by normally. Who knows what would have happened?
She smiles at me, and it seems like she's accepting my advances. However, the way things were, I understood her exception. It would be better to talk about that stuff later on.
Let's get things moving, alright? Like I said, I have a better sense of direction now. Or at the very least, my mind is more clear. That's all I needed.
Letting out a loud sigh, she starts to walk away. I'm glad I decided to reach out to her like this. A clouded mind could affect her performance. If we wanted to win this, everyone would need to be resolute. I shouldn't miss any opportunity to bond with my friends and comrades. Their survival and future would directly relate to their morale. True facts. Alright, nothing new here or out here. So yeah, I guess we're moving on. Let's head over to Saulberg first and then to the Outlook. As soon as we enter Saulberg, we're all in shock. It's such a beautiful sight, unlike anything in Valinor. From here, it's very obvious that we're up in the mountains. The fact that Valinor's lush forests are prone to hide.
Whoa. This is amazing. I can't believe something like this was so close.
And look at the spirit idol. That's so cool. Even if it's not lit up, it's still beautiful.
Mila said it went dark when the Cirrus was born. I can't believe all that energy is inside of you.
They both look at me as if they don't understand, but I guess that's fine. We don't really know what's happening. I must have been giving this power for a purpose, but what purpose?
Hey, race you to the idol, Valessa.
He starts running like his life depends on it. Quite the head start if you ask me.
Hey, that's not fair!
She quickly follows after him, closing the distance. It was nice to see their spirits lifted like this. I might as well make the most of my time here. Alright, no books to find.
What? No fair. How did you beat me?
Even with a head start, you're no match for me. Time to throw in the towel. Stick to climbing trees.
Oh? So you want to have a climbing race?
I'll pass, thanks.
Wait, why?
A smart person doesn't pick a battle they know they'll lose. I'm surprised you challenged me, Fortune. You know how fast I am.
Are you calling me stupid?
No, I'd never do that.
Aww.
Anyway, isn't the spirit idol beautiful?
That's putting it lightly. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. When it's lit up, it must be incredible.
Yeah, I'd pay almost any price to see that. But don't worry, Fortune. I'm sure there's something we can do. If we all work together, we can make that idol shine again.
Alright. It looks like these bridges lead to the Outlook. It's technically the exit to the rest of Valestia. A long mountain trail takes you to the mainland. The trail from Peregrino is probably safer though. Those bridges look like they could break at any second. Especially if they've been neglected for over 20 years. Oof. So this is it, the idol that gave me its power. Against my will, I was chosen for this greater destiny. The last Cirrus of Valinor, perhaps the savior of Valestia.
I can't believe we've lost our connection with the spirits. There must be some way to get it back, right?
Are you sure we lost it, though? It's still here, just inside of the Cirrus.
I'm pretty sure it's not that simple. This idol has roots that reach all across Valinor. As far as I know, the Cirrus doesn't have any roots.
Well, maybe there's a way to put the energy back. You know, after we've taken down the Triumvirate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe this is only temporary, and they'll come back. The seer won't need the power after we won, right?
We look at each other and smile. There had to be a way to reconnect Valanorth with those spirits. We had a long journey ahead of us, and plenty of time to learn how. It was a nice quick stop. Right, to the Outlook. After a trek that was longer than expected, we finally reached the Outlook. There was a long uphill walk, so my legs are strained and tired. That, along with my lack of sleep, was an unfortunate combination.
Well, here we are. Zanira told me you've never been. Take a look down there. What do you think?
He lets out a soft laugh, like he's anticipating our reaction. After a few more steps, we reach the high ground, and everything comes into view. The scope of our world, and just how small Valinor really was, finally dawned upon me.
Whoa.
That's amazing!
They stop to catch their breath as they run up the hill in excitement. We can see the entirety of Mazeo, and it looks so tiny from up here, but I know it's much larger than Valinor, so this is hard to comprehend.
That's Mazeo?
Yeah, we can probably reach it in a few more hours. But take a while to enjoy the view. It's really something else. And it's not like we'll be coming back here anytime soon, right?
Yeah.
Pro takes a few steps forward, writing in some kind of journal. He watches Ulrich, not even needing to stare at the paper as he wrote.
And so Ulrich stood at the entrance of the world, enthralled by its beauty. It would seem that his dreams for the future were no less grand than the sight before him. With comrades in tow, they took in the sight together, an unspoken bond slowly forming.
The bond won't last much longer if you keep that up, Pro.
Yikes! It's not like this is my job or anything. You know I'm trying to record all the important moments.
You must be grasping at straws if you're writing about me, then. Focus on the CRS or something. This is the start of her journey.
Or maybe you could focus on this.
Huh?
We all turn to Fortum, and he's holding out his hands. Inside of the cup he's formed with them rests a single crimson leaf. A breeze flows through the area, sending a chill through all of us. Immediately we turn toward Valinorth, in awe of what we see. The blood leaves are falling, making their journey through the sky. Carried by the chilling wind, they find their way down to the mainland.
Wow.
This shouldn't be happening, right? The blood leaves don't fall at this time of year.
He's right, everyone. Normally it's too warm for them to wilt and fall. I know what this means. Valanorth is starting to die.
You mean because of the dim spirit idol?
Yeah, I didn't think it would happen so fast. We need to hurry. If we don't do something, our home will...
Ulrich steps forward and rests a hand on Valessa's shoulder.
Don't worry. We'll figure out a way to save your village. We are saving Alestia, and that includes Valanorth.
She nods, and we turn to stare down at the mainland. For a moment, the falling of the blood leaves was a more beautiful sight. But was this a blessing, or perhaps a portend of bad things to come? Pro remains silent, but continues writing in his notebook. Surely this would give him enough material to keep busy for a while. I look at Valessa and Fortum, and they give me nervous smiles.
Are you ready, Cirrus? I guess this is where things truly begin.
Let's do it.
As a team, we can do this. I'm stronger for having you by my side.
Ulrich takes a few steps back, letting us have our moment. He knew how important this was to the three of us. It was perhaps the biggest moment of our lives.
So, this is it, huh?
She lets go of the blood leaves she held in her hand. The gust of wind from behind us helps them sail down to Mazeo.
Now, It's our turn.
I noticed Fortum wipe his eyes with his forearm. Was he crying? It's probably best not to point it out, as I don't want to embarrass him. He clenches his fists and looks to the sky with closed eyes.
I wish you could be here with us. Don't worry, Mom and Dad. I'll make you proud.
He turns to us and smiles. Ulrich can tell that the moment is over. Without saying anything, he starts walking down the outlook. From what I can see, a trail takes us all the way to Mazeo. This is it. This was the moment our journey began.
As a group, we headed down to Mazeo, with our resolve peaked. In that moment, it seemed like our goal was both clear and within our grasp. However, Mazeo would soon prove how wrong and naive we truly were.
Well, that's ominous. Oh, hey! Parallel Chronicle of the Triumvirate. Let's see what this is about. The Triumvirate gathered in their chambers, near the glowing idol. With a faint smile on their faces, they gazed deep into its corruption. As nobody else was in sight, they had no need to keep up appearances.
It appears that things have finally begun. Did you have your audience with the Seeress, Master? Yes, indeed. It went just as planned. Doubt is a very powerful weapon. When wielded properly, you are right. Thankfully, we have lots of practice. Perhaps too much? Or at the very least, not enough. But we've waited longer in the past.
One of the triumvirs lowers their hood. Taking a deep breath, they sigh in relief.
So, you think this is the end?
The other triumvir followed in turn, lowering his hood. However, their master chooses not to do the same.
I suppose that rests with the Seeress. Let us watch and see what unfolds.
Spooky! I wonder what that means. To Mazeo! As we take our first steps away from Valinor, I make note of my surroundings. Not much has changed, yet in my heart I can feel an indescribable difference. Crimson leaves litter the ground, remnants of the earlier spectacle.
Wow, they look pretty cool, huh?
It was definitely a nice send-off. I just hope that the Mazeans aren't afraid.
Why would they be afraid?
Many Alestians see it as an ill omen.
Really? But they're just leaves.
You know how superstitious people can be.
I was taught that they're tears from the spirit realm. You know, the spirits crying out. But I don't know why. Perhaps our parents were reaching out to us.
Case in point, Pro.
Fair enough. Anyway, there was something I had to say. Don't you think it's a little odd to walk around like that?
He looks at me, giving me the up and down. I don't know what he's talking about, and I'm confused. I'm not really sure what he's talking. Well, okay, I know he's talking about the sword, but
Actually, that's kind of what I had in mind. I don't think you should walk around with that blade out in the open.
Yep.
Let's cover it up, alright? There might be spies in Mazeo.
valid point.
That's actually a good idea. We don't know how many eyes will be on us. It might help us get past the gate guard as well.
Yeah, they wouldn't take kindly to seeing that. They're skeptical enough of travelers from Valinor.
What? But we wouldn't do anything.
That's exactly the point.
People from Valinor would never harm Mazeo, true. But that's what makes it the perfect excuse for wrongdoers. Say you're from Valinor and get through without a second thought.
That's awful.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're keen on that trick. They'll end up questioning us no matter what we say.
So we need to cover up the blade.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good thing I brought this then.
She holds up the cloth that was wrapping the blade in the grand tree. It's large enough that I could wrap it around myself like a cloak. I'm positive that they'll ask what's underneath, but it's worth a try.
What do we do if they don't buy it?
Well, I'll play some of my patented charm.
We're doomed.
Fortum and Valessa share a quick laugh while Pro fumes. Ulrich crosses his arms and starts to come up with a plan.
There's still a long way to go, so let's walk and talk. We're losing time, and that's the one thing we can't afford to lose.
Immediately after, Valessa hands me the cloth from earlier. I knew that many people in Mazeo were part of the rebellion, but not everybody. The gate guards must be an example of those not under Domek's thumb, at least yet.
All right.
I wrap the cloak around my back and fashion the top into a hood. The blade of Exodus, as well as my identity, was sufficiently masked. With the small hope that this facade will work, we continue toward Mazeo. Alright, let's see what Grizz is up to. As Alex left his office, Grizz sat in contemplation. It wasn't long before Lilith, his assistant, walked into the room. It was her duty to document and follow up with Grizz after every meeting.
So, how'd it go?
As good as it could have, which isn't saying much.
What would you have me put on the record?
Negotiations to resume with more parties present. I think that about sums it up while I gather my bearings.
Very well. And what about off the record? What should I be expecting to come through that door?
Initially, I wanted them to sabotage the Triumvirate's ships, but that was very short-sighted of me. We'll need a naval army, so I tackled things from another angle, securing ships.
That shouldn't be too hard, right? The pirates have an enormous army.
Combined, yeah, but I can't win them all over. Alex and Nada will both be fighting to cut a deal with me, and I'm afraid no matter who we side with, things will change.
For who exactly?
Everybody. Lilith, can you send for Domek? He'll need to be present at the final negotiations.
Of course, sir.
I have a feeling he'll be bringing the seer too, Lilith. With everybody under one roof, we can finally make some progress. At the end of the day, Mazeo and the rebellion will be allied with the pirates.
Hopefully.
Never thought I'd see the day. I guess we just have to choose who to side with.
That's why I need to see Domek as well. He'll be leading the final battle, so he needs to choose. I trust his decision and his sense of strategy more than you know.
Should he really be making choices that affect the future of Mazeo?
I think it's in our best interest. Besides, with what's coming, I don't think I'll be here much longer. I only hope that we can leave behind a peaceful future for Mazeo.
Well, that's a little bit defeatist sounding.
So, about that charm.
Yeah?
When are you gonna start turning it on?
It's been on this whole time.
Oh boy.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
It means you think highly of your own ability. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a little too highly.
That's not true.
Oh really? Charm me then.
You mean right now?
Yeah, right here, right now. Shouldn't be too hard for someone like yourself.
No, well, just let me think. It takes a bit to get in the groove.
Oh, is that so? Sounds like an excuse to me.
It's not!
Alright then, just hurry it up, Pro. I'd tell you to take your time, but I don't want to die of old age.
Rude. Ulrich, what's up? Anything you can tell me about Mazeo?
There's not much to say that you don't already know. It's a trading hub, providing goods and services to Valinor and Alarenthia. But there's a large piracy scene, providing the more illicit goods and services. The occupation was supposed to make things better, but it didn't. It only created more laws to break, and they haven't even cracked down on them. The mayor has slowly defected to our side after realizing the Triumvirate's true intent. They only wanted the spirit idol hidden underneath Mazeo. We're sure of it. The introduction of law and order to the city of Mazeo was justification enough for them. If they truly wanted to keep Mazeo in line, they'd be enforcing the laws they put in place.
Reasonable. What about the mayor?
His name is Grizz, and he slowly defected to our side. He's a good ally to have, especially with the strings he can pull. I doubt our plans would have gotten this far without his assistance.
Neat. Well, we know what the Triumvirate would do if they found out. Anything I should know before meeting him?
He's really big. He can be intimidating, but his heart is in the right place. You don't really get the politician vibe from him. Looks more like a warrior, but that's kind of the point. The Triumvirate wanted a ruthless man in charge. Just don't judge him based on his appearance and you'll be fine. There's a friendly man underneath that hardened exterior, I promise. If it weren't for his efforts, the rebellion would barely be successful.
Fair enough. So the occupation did not make things better.
And why would it? It was just a front because they wanted the spirit idol. Mazeo remains largely the same. Attention was just diverted to different areas. For example, trade bans just made the pirates focus on different commodities. They talked a big talk, but they didn't follow through. It was all a lie. For example, the rebellion formed effortlessly under their watchful eyes. Under competent rulers, that never should have happened. See what I'm getting at?
Wow. Let's see. Well, I mean, that all's not terribly important. Do we have any local enemies to worry about?
Our previous leader ensured that we stayed well hidden. Not many of the townspeople knew what we were doing, but even if they found out, they sided with us anyway.
Fair enough. If we were open, do you think they'd support us?
With the knowledge I currently possess, yes, I think they would. Over 20 years later, the Mazeans are starting to realize the Triumvirate was lying. They promised to turn Mazeo into a utopia. Just look around when we get there. It's not. Their words seem to mean a lot to people, even if their actions don't follow suit. In my opinion, it's only a matter of time before their promises fall on deaf ears. That is, if we don't take them down first. At least we will be keeping our promises.
Fair enough. I'm not gonna pry him. You know what? Fuck
Well,
it.
spare time is pretty scarce these days. But I love a good drink. Nothing better than winding down a busy day with some ale, right? Aside from that, I love a good spar, but it's hard to find a challenge.
Maybe we could grab a drink together.
Of course. Now you're starting to grow on me. I didn't know you were into that, but I need a good drinking buddy. You can only drink so much alone before it starts to get sad.
Ain't that the truth? Is it true you're undefeated in combat?
Yes.
Alright, I guess we're leaving it at that. Alright, so next up we'll be heading down to talk to the yard and actually get into Mazeo. But that's going to do it for this episode. Once again, if you enjoyed, hit that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and catch me over on Twitch. You can also find me on Discord now, so come chat and hang out. I'll see you next time. Obscure Jackal, signing out.